think I'm recording? Hopefully I am. All right. Hey everybody, I hope everyone's had a good day. I'll be doing a quick recap of the trades and everything that I mentioned in chat. And yeah, JC, but it's on paper. It's not real money. She's still practicing. But hey everybody, I'll be doing a quick market recap of how we traded today, all the things I said in chat, and then the beautiful pump into the end of the day, and how I not predicted it, how I traded it basically, and why I thought so, and everything else, because I feel like that's what everyone's gonna be most excited to like hear about and know about. Okay, so to get started, the market didn't really do much overnight. I guess it stayed in range the whole day up until there was some news at 5:30. It pumped up, which I thought we'd have a strong bullish day because of this move. I really didn't think sellers were much in control yesterday. So right here, because of this overnight action, I was like, okay, so we're gonna pump up with the news, kind of bounce around this 573 area, bounce around 504, and then go up to somewhere like here, 750. But that didn't happen, which is why I was a little bit bullish, and that's why I missed most of this drop right here. I was like, I got caught on my bias a little bit too much, and that's why I missed the drop. But this made up for it. But that's why I was bullish, because I was like, okay, so we're not really selling off. We pumped with the news, and the past like couple months, I guess, when we pump like that overnight, we just tend to rip the whole day. So I didn't expect this crazy sell off. I was like, in my head, I was like, if they wanted to sell it off, they would have just sold the news down in pre-market and continue into the open. Why would they sell it? Why would they sell it after we get a pump up like that? So that's how I was thinking. That's why I didn't really was too bearish going into the day. So going into the day, we had the 575 level I gave in pre-market, basically, like right as the market opened, and it bounced like 40 points right off of it. So if we go down to the 1 minute, this 575 level that I had bounced up, and that was, I thought at the time, I was like, hey, this will probably bounce. It just bounced at the first level we had. Now it's probably time to go higher. Took a very small scalp here short, and I closed it at like right here, because I thought we'd probably bounce around the 600 area and go higher, but that wasn't the case. So I basically missed all of this down, and I didn't really find an entry. Like, it was just like, I guess here was an entry, or I guess here, I don't know, but I didn't really quite see an entry for myself. So I just literally waited the whole time, because I know moves like that, they can just keep going down, and breaking my 500 level here as well with ES breaking the 50 that I had. I was like, I'm not too sure if this was if this will be like a reversal yet. So I don't buy on moves like this. I buy on moves like these, where the market always slows down. I always tell you guys, I only buy when the market's slowing down, or short when the market's slowing down, like something like that or like that. But I wouldn't buy something that's just unlimited flushing down, because who knows how much longer it's gonna keep going down, right? So I just waited basically this whole move out. Took this 360 area for like a tiny long on this pop, but I sold really quickly, just because I know this market's flushing and any bounce will just be sold off. But here was another really good trade that we talked about in chat, was the short of the 364. So this basically previous support turned resistance, basic support, right? It's holding for like 20-30 minutes, breaks right under, and it's unable to break above, and then liquidity sweeps here. It comes and it slams back down. Also, scalpers didn't really make much off the shorts today at all. I don't know why. I just wasn't confident in shorting. Didn't play this uptrend either. But here's when things started getting interesting. So we have ES here, and it's approaching this 35 level. But this 35, so ES didn't drop as much as NQ. It dropped, but not as much. But this ES 35 level is important, and the reason is it's because it was the pre-market low. So NQ was extremely off from the pre-market low. The pre-market low was near 500. NQ was 250 points off. So NQ was nowhere near pre-market low. But what interested me in getting this whole move higher was that ES, which NQ kind of does follow ES, was near the pre-market low. So I kind of figured once ES is in the pre-market range, it does have room to go all the way back up. This crazy divergence is what made me take NQ over ES. Because NQ, if ES rips back the high day, so will NQ, but NQ has a lot more catching up to do, right? So NQ will be a lot more aggressive on the way up, and which did happen, right? NQ ripped almost 200, 300 points, 300 points literally, while ES only ripped about 70, which 70 would be 2,100 a lot, and then no 3,500 a lot. I'm sorry, and then on NQ would be almost 6,000 a lot for 300 points. assuming someone held a full move, but obviously no one did. Anyways, this is why I was super bullish on the indices to the close. So I'm seeing it bounce here, but here's how I'm thinking. Right, here's what like the change of character, whatever. I was thinking this whole time, the markets are just breaking lower with every bounce being sold. But here we have ES pretty strong into the 35 into the pre-market level. Pre-market level is a pretty big level to have on a move down like this, right? So the strength, we're starting to see a lot more strength come back versus weakness. Like here, every pop would get sold off. Compared to here where every bounce was basically bought. Like here was bought. Tried to break lower, and it didn't. Like and bounced back to the 64 area where it rejected two times before here, and it rejected again. And what piqued my interest the most was that it held this 30 area. I was like, it broke this 30 area earlier, and now it held it. I'm like, okay, so the same buyer that was showing up earlier showed up again, even though he left this area. I'm like, all right, we're looking kind of bullish. So I was looking for a dip. Sorry. Okay. I'm gonna mute real quick, and then I'll mute you right back. So I was pretty bullish at this area here. I was like, I want to buy this 30s one more time with a stop somewhere at 320. I saw this come right here, and I saw that at 40 it was kind of hesitating. It wasn't really trying to break lower. So I bought this 40, but I bought it small. I think I only bought like 7 minis or something. It's not small, but I wasn't like full size in. And then it came back down, and this bounced right away. So this tried to break lower than 39, and it didn't. I was waiting to buy more at 30. So somewhere around here with a stop somewhere at 20. It was like a 20-point stop, but I was targeting 60s and a lot higher because I started becoming a little bit more aggressive on the buys, and I guess early because I was more bullish on the price action. I was like, okay, so this is holding up a little bit higher than 30. It rejected the 64, but last time it rejected the 64 other than here, look how much further down we went. So I'm realizing at this point, hey, it's later in the day. There isn't as much volatility, and ES is looking pretty bullish near 35. And over 35, I just know ES is in the pre-market range with next target being at 50. And I know once ES goes to 50, it could just explode. The same thing that happened here, right? ES could literally just explode over 50. So I bought it again here, and this is when I added a lot more size. 42. I was planning to add more actually if it came down to 30, but that was the most I got, and I didn't add more. And ES broke over 35 at the time, so this was around 1209, and ES was way over 39. It was over. ES was here at the time, and when I realized that ES was over like near 40, and next target's at 50, and NQ is over 64, this key 64 level, which was resistance, and resistance here. I was like, hey, so the next target's probably around 400. And I scaled some on the way here. I scaled half just to take my risk off. So even though I'm in a lot of size, I sold half just in case it comes back down. I still didn't take a loss. I'm still either break even or small profit on the day, on the trade. I'm sorry. So I sold some right here for like plus 15 or something. Near this when I was hesitating right here, and then ES was super strong up. ES just kept trending up the whole time. And I was like, hey, I think this could reverse the whole way up, even to like 460, 500. And I ended up selling pretty early. I sold like somewhere around here, literally at this drop. I'm kind of stupid for doing that, but I literally sold right here, literally when it started dropping. I don't know why, but that's what happened. Even though I was extremely still bullish on it, and it ended up going a lot higher. But let me go over some things to said in chat. So at first I wanted to knife catch ES somewhere here at 35. This was at 7:22 a.m. Okay, so at 7:22, I wanted to buy ES somewhere at this level. See this level here? I was like, okay, so NQ is knifing ES can stop right here, and I could reverse it back up. And then I realized that, hey, there's no need to knife catch this. Like my first initial thought was, hey, I'm gonna try to catch this for a reversal back up. Then I realized that it was really aggressive pushing towards 35. Like I wanted something like this where it would like sweep 35 and bounce back up. But I noticed these really large candles coming down. I was like, hey, if this wanted to buy 35, it wouldn't be this aggressive coming towards it. So I just took my orders off and just let it do its thing. Right? I didn't want to knife catch this. And then at 10:36. So this was somewhere around the 64 level right here. is when I said just like keep on watch 64 because that's when we rejected last time, and it did. And then at 10:54, I have like a note right here of when I mentioned things and what I mentioned. And then at 10, oh, I don't, you guys didn't see it, but I'll show it later. And then at 10:54, I said there's a bounce area at 35. So 10:54 is right here. Literally this candle. So I noticed that there's buying the first initial buying when I saw it 30s was right here. These multiple wicks. Then I saw it happen here, and then I was like, hey, next time this thing tests 35, it'll probably bounce again. Bounced here, I ignored it here and ignored it here, and then it came back, and this when I started getting more interesting. And then at 11:48 is when I said, hey, ES might go back to the highs. So I called it here, somewhere here, but ES was a lot stronger. At 10:48, ES was here, right? So ES was very close to 35. And you can see how the ES action was a lot more stronger than NQ. So NQ was dipping down a lot while ES was basically holding this uptrend, right? It wasn't breaking lower. NQ was breaking lower. ES was still holding the same uptrend. And that's what made me really look. I was like, hey, look how strong ES is. That you don't short this move going up. Like you can just see it. It's like higher lows. It's approaching the 35, but it's approaching the resistance pretty strongly, right? So at first it wasn't able to, and now it's approaching it. Now we're seeing these big candles get through it. And when it dips down, it's still holding a higher low. So every time it dips, it's getting closer to the 35 key level that we had, which was the pre-market low. And then it breaks above, and that right here, exactly here, I was like, hey, this thing could probably explode, right? It's like it looks like that, and when it's higher lows like this, coming off from a strong uptrend, it could probably catch on fire. And the past 2 days, we've been getting insane sell-offs towards the close. Oh my God. All right, let's see. So the past 2 days, we've been getting something like this where it just bounces the whole day towards the close we dip. So I just figured with how good it was looking towards the end of the day, we just get the same move but in the opposite direction. Right? And then at 12:01 on NQ is when I was like, hey, this I'm getting a strong hunch that this probably rips, which is when I added. Right, 12:01 right here is when I added. I was like, hey, I'm getting a strong hunch this can't explode. And ES was already over 35 at the time. ES was holding 35, which is what I was like, this is extremely impressive. So this is just a previous resistance turn support now, which was support earlier, but now it flipped to resistance and back to support. And at 12:01 is when I started buying, and then I bought again here, and like it didn't really give me a reason to exit. Like the first reason that gave me to exit, I scaled off half, and then it was just super strong after, and then after it broke 95, I was like, this thing could just explode. So then I sold most here. Then after that stupid move up, I chased it back up near, like, not chase, I guess, because I knew it could go a lot more. Like once something goes, it's just uncontrollable buying, which like not everyone should do. It's obviously a little bit riskier, but I had a lot of gains to play with, and I knew this could go a lot higher, especially with ES over 75. So I was like, I'm gonna chase this a little bit, and I bought 42. So I bought somewhere here. Wait, no. It was 6. What did I buy? Yeah. I bought somewhere here. 42 right here. Let me show on the 1 minute. So I chased this. Up here. No. I bought 52. What am I saying? Yeah, I know. I bought around here. It's like 42. I typed it wrong. I bought 52 right here. For a quick bounce. And I sold most of it at this resistance where it exploded like another 40 points. But I don't care. And it's just been hanging around this resistance that it broke above now. But like unreal day, literally unreal. I can't believe it bounced this much. Well, I kind of believe it, but kind of don't at the same time. But yeah, this is basically why the whole thing, right? Is like kind of like a downtrend break here, holds the same support it was holding before. ES over the key level, which was 35, right here, the support, and it just rips up. Right, like you don't need to know that it would rip up this whole way. You just need to have a good entry. Like honestly, I didn't expect NQ to be back at 600. I probably thought it would stop around 500 right here, which was like my final PT. I thought it would stop around 500, but that's the beauty of trading. You don't need to know whether it's gonna go up or down. You just need to have a good entry and a good stop. Entry's 42, stop somewhere around 20. And once I took my risk off the table somewhere at this pop, I could do whatever with the rest. My other half could come all the way down here, and I'd still be break even on the trade. That's the good thing with selling half or selling a quarter or trimming some profits off, is that no matter what the trade does after, you're either gonna make a lot more or you're gonna just break even or take a small win. And when I added more size, I was able to afford holding longer, because no matter what it does, even if it comes back down, I'll still make around the same or a little bit less than what I would make if I was sizing a little bit lower. And yeah, like for this whole thing, I didn't really catch any shorts because I wasn't confident in the shorts. Whether, like, I should have been short, right? That was the right move, but um just wasn't short based on what the pre-market was doing. I should have reacted properly. Um but that's the beauty, right? Because you don't need to catch every move, and you don't need to know what the market's gonna do. You don't need to know what it's gonna do at every level, at every price. You don't need to know whether there's a buy here, seller here. As long as you're confident in your trade and kind of know what's gonna happen next, that's all really that matters. Like, who cares what's gonna happen here? If you're not in a trade, it doesn't matter what happens here. You're looking for a specific setup. You're looking for a higher low or a bounce at a support area. That's where you should be concerned on where price is gonna go. But like I don't care if it's gonna bounce here. If I'm not in a trade, I'll look for this to set up later. Like if it bounced here, for example, and made a higher low. But you only need to care about if you're looking to enter in that area. Otherwise it's pointless. And yeah, I just missed this whole move down, but like, you don't need to have a trade every day. You just need to wait for your edge. When you're confident in a specific setup is when you should take the trade. Otherwise, you'll take too many paper cuts on the way, and that's what kills a lot of traders. They'll take so many trades in the middle of the day with tiny paper cuts, like negative 100, negative 200, negative 300. Make it back with it like a plus $800 trade, and they'll be down $100, and then they just take so many small losses, like negative 200, negative 100, and that's just what kills a lot of traders. That too impatient. They need to always know what happens in everywhere, instead of just waiting for 1, 2, 3 confident setups and taking that and just striking those with a little bit of size and being done with the day. You see, were you confident we'd go up before that pump and pullback? Before the pump and pullback? No, I had no idea. This is what made me confident. ES holding 35. Before that pump and pullback, I had no idea if we were gonna go up. I just thought we'd probably sell off for the whole day. Like, I didn't want to think about it too much. I was like, you know what? Today's probably gonna be ass. It's just gonna keep going down the whole day. I'm not gonna get a good entry. I'll just stay here and wait. I don't think it's gonna give me a place to enter. But and then when that happened, I was like, hey, this thing can probably reverse, and that's when I took it. But before that pump and pullback, literally, I had no idea what stocks were gonna do today. No idea. I just thought we'd like maybe go to the 210 area, test it, come around, go a little bit lower. But I wasn't gonna short, because I'm so chasing down. There's no way I'm gonna be shorting down here, which is why I didn't short any of this. Because ideal entry would have probably been somewhere up here, not all the way down here. Because shorting that low, for example, imagine you tried shorting this pop, you would have gotten screwed, right? So that's why that's why I'm like super patient. I wait for the market to set up to either give me another trade, or just not trade at all. I'm okay with missing out. Can you explain a bit more on the candle wicks in pre-market, the 5230? Yeah, sure. So I just noticed ES was ranging between 5250 and 5235, and with like a lower wick at 5230. And so with NQ pushing down a lot and ES was a little bit slower, I thought, hey, I'm gonna put some orders in at 5235 or 5230 and try to catch it for a bounce. Just based on this pre-market range, right? It was like there's a top and a bottom. So I thought I would be okay with buying this bottom, but I saw how aggressive it was approaching, like with this candle, for example. And then I was like, hey, this is I don't want to long this. And yeah, it's just a basic range, support resistance, and I thought it'd be okay to buy it, but it was so aggressive, it wasn't worth it. I thought we'd go up at 1142. Oh, I'm on the 5-minute. Yeah, I mean, but this, like, I wouldn't buy up here. I'd buy when it's somewhere in either in this box or like a higher low. Or for example, I was also looking at another scenario that play out in my head. I was thinking it goes a little bit above 364, like somewhere here, comes down, dances around 364, and then comes back up. that was another scenario I was looking to play out. Um, but like it just ripped up. So that was the other scenario I was looking to play out. But yeah, like 1142, good trade if you took it, but not a setup I would take up here since it just broke lower. I would take it here, right? So it's holding that 30 support, but I wouldn't take it here just because it's not that you're chasing. It's that I typically like to get in long on pullbacks instead of chasing the longs. Like I wouldn't be buying up here, for example, like here, like even though that's like momentum chasing, I guess, or whatever. Yeah. So I'd buy this pullback here, but I wouldn't take it long here. Before the consolidation, did you think we were headed down? Like here? Oh, before? Like, you can unmute if you want. So before here or here? Here, at this point right here, I didn't think we'd go down. Here, yes. Here, no.
Yeah, so I think I was gonna right before that 1142 pump. So right before we pumped up
Yeah,
to like in that consolidation when
yeah,
we're like flat, like people would say it's a flag.
yeah.
Right in that situation, like that I thought we are going down in that
Wait, like
area.
right here?
No, before.
Like here?
Like yeah, yeah, down here. I thought we
Oh,
are going down still. And then I flipped my bias when that pump came. So I was wondering if that was the same for you, or did you think we're gonna go up as we were in this consolidation
yeah. No,
phase?
no, no. I had the same bias as you. At this point right here, I said like here. Let me get it in chat. I said no more. Uh, here. So that was at 11:04. Oh, that was actually a bit earlier. So here it's the same setup though. Like here when let me get it real quick. Here. So at this point right here, I was like, no more. Like I'm not interested in buying this anymore. So like that honestly just shows you that even with this bump right here, I wasn't confident in this us going all the way up. So yeah, like somewhere here and here, I wasn't like I had no idea we'd go up. I just thought, hey, this 35 area that was previous support now is just gonna sell off and probably go back to like 280 or something, or low day or something like that. I wasn't looking to take it short. Because the short was at 64 right, from earlier and somewhere here, but I just didn't like once it reclaimed is when I figured, hey, this is pretty bullish. But in this area here, yeah, I was pretty bearish. Like I thought we'd go down in this area. Then after this happened, this is what gave it away. After this happened right here, I was like, hey, we're probably gonna pump.
Does that strong one leg sell just make it more confident it's gonna go up? Because usually if you're doing a bunch of higher lows in that pullback of that length, would you think that it wouldn't go? Because just it just how do I put this? It was just a liquidation of buyers just selling and then they just recoup their positions at that area that you were talking about.
Wait, can you show where real quick?
No,
Like here?
because you know how we pumped up real quick and then we sold off most of the move up.
Yeah.
Where you bought,
Yeah, I
right?
bought here though.
Yeah, but right on that the huge red leg right before that.
Oh, okay, this one right here.
Yeah, this one. Yeah,
Okay.
most people would think that that's gonna shift, but would that if we were just making a bunch of higher lows, right? Instead of just going straight down, would that change your narrative kinda or not
Yeah,
really?
yeah. So like, well, I wasn't bullish until this happened though. So
Okay.
I was like at this point right here is when I started to flip bullish, just because I saw that the same buyer that was buying earlier is showing up again. If they weren't interested in taking it up higher, I just thought they'd take it to like a lower low, for example. Like instead of this made a lower low from here, so this one would probably come somewhere around here and then try to bounce up again, go in the 30s areas and reject back down, right? But since it held the same area and it was slowing down in this area, so you could see this wick right here and then this one right here, I was like, hey, they're probably gonna buy this area up again. And then when it slowed down a little bit higher than 30s, I was like, yeah, this thing could probably go. This thing will test at least 64, which was probably my first target.
Okay, that was my yeah, that was basically what I did.
Yeah.
Okay, I just sold too early, but yeah.
Yeah, that's just identifying like how far a trade can go. It's not selling early, just like when I saw ES at 35, like if I was just looking for a range play, I would have sold 64, wouldn't have looked back, right? But because I knew ES could rip back to like at least 5250 or 5260, I realized NQ has so much more range and it could just go that I didn't sell. So it's not really about selling early, it's just knowing how far a trade could go. Like, but if I was just buying this 30, if you would have not sold early and you were buying this 30s, if you didn't sell at 60s, you'd be down, right? And you would have probably taken a loss. And same thing here. If you would have bought and held, you would have been break even or taken a loss. But if you bought here and didn't sell it here because you know the trade is has a lot more room, and it's not about selling early or selling too late. It's about knowing the type of trade you're in. I always say that's like about how far can the trade you're in go. And that's why. Um JC said one more follow up. Say there was 2 candle wicks at pre-market at 52.30. Would you mark your pre-market at that wick? Makes sense to mark 52 for and there's okay. Let's see. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Uh uh I mean, I don't know since it didn't happen, but probably not. Like I would have marked like another like tiny level, like something like that. Would have probably marked something like I'd have it in mind if there was 2 wicks there or 3 wicks there or whatever. But since everything was around the 52.30, like even 50.35, sorry, even that one, even these wicks are around 52.35. I just marked 52.35. It also looks like where we bounce, like all the candle closing, this slowing down. The wick at 52.30 is important, but not as much as everything else was in the area. But like as I always say, it's not never like an exact price. It's always like a general area. So like if it stopped at 52.32, for example, I would have liked it. Or if it went to like 29, I also would have liked it. It's never like 52.30 exactly or 35 exactly. I was just looking at this general area, like how aggressive is it gonna be in the 30 to 35 area. Um, I would have probably marked both, but like I know in the 30 to 35 area there should be some demand, or it was a previous demand zone that I should like pay attention to. But seeing this action towards, I was like, there's no way they're gonna buy that. Does that kind of make sense? Of course. Does anyone have any questions about, or like want me to explain about any like trade I took? Because I kind of explained what happened in the market, why I took the longs, why I didn't short from earlier. Um, Kind of like just like how I was thinking. And I had this level here on the 57 just because it was the NQ resistance in pre-market. So this right here. Man, you don't get days like these often. Like $2,000 or $3,000 in the 5210 calls, 5250 calls on SPX. They were $10 when I mentioned them, and they went up to 3,800 at the end. Like a couple thousand went like almost 4,000%. Would have almost turned into $1 million. Some insane stuff. So that's why options are sometimes better than futures on like ballistic moves like this towards the end of the day where premiums are super cheap. This is why this is why options are sometimes better. Like during scalping, futures any day of the week, right? Because premium doesn't get burned. But when going for like parabolic moves like this, man, options are so the way to go. You could dump a couple $100, a couple thousand, and have them 20x. Not always, but yeah. So how just ES was pushing towards the 35, this key level, and it was literally just uptrending. And the moment it got above it, the thing is it got above it and it held, that's what really piqued my interest, like here, and here. So it got above it and it didn't go down. I was like, hey, this 35 is a key level for it. It's pre-market low. That's like saying, That's like saying NQ is all the way back to 500, right? From all the way back. So I was like, hey, ES is that far back up, and NQ is still back down here, and NQ doesn't look bad. So I was like thinking, over 364, if NQ reclaims its 35 level, NQ could go ballistic. And I would take NQ over ES because NQ has a lot more catching up to do to pre-market low compared to ES that's already at it. So for ES just to go to pre-market low, which is what ES was already at, that would be like a 140 point gain. So that was oh my god, I'm stuttering so hard. That's what I was thinking in my head. I was like, hey, if ES is already at pre-market low and if it goes to pre-market highs, NQ could do the same. And yeah, that's what happened. I mean, it's just a shot in the dark, right? You take a long, scaled half. If I was that confident in the trade going, I wouldn't have scaled half, which was like 11, 12 watts. I wouldn't have scaled half. I would have scaled a couple and just let the rest ride. But, which is why I always personally take risk off the table. It's just going to be always my thing. Just in case the trade doesn't go my way, I don't lose. I mean, if I held that trade, we'd be looking at like 120,000 instead of like 19,000 or something. Some insane stuff. Insane gains. I could have literally risked that money. Now I'm thinking I could have risked my loss on the options. I would have made so much more. I don't think I would have held though, but I would have made so much more. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. But as long as the skill is there, you know, okay, these moves won't stop happening. These moves happen every year, every quarter. But they don't really happen that often. Probably like less than 10 times a year you see these moves happen. I want to run a stat on this actually. I want to see how often we get a 100-point move towards the last hour, in one direction. I don't think it happened. Like, I barely see those moves happen. Literally like maybe 10 times a year, 20 times a year. I need to run a test on that. Oh, why is JC muted? JC, are you still muted? I might have muted you by accident.
Oh, I'm good, thanks.
Okay, yeah, of course. Sorry about that. So no one has any more questions? Or like you could ask anything. You could unmute and say anything either. Or want to share a trade that you took or that you were confused on or hesitated. I'm here for you guys. Of course, Surya. It's my pleasure. Yeah, this is recorded. Yes, you'll be able to watch it later. Yeah, of course. Got a bunch of people that DM me that they couldn't make it, so I fixed OBS last night because yesterday was bugging out when I was yeah man. So that's something I'm doing in the course I'm recording is the difference between the ES and the NQ divergence, because like this is something I've been trading with for years. Ever since I started trading stocks, this is something I learned from Ripster. So back in like 2020 or something, like 4 or 5 years ago, he would always mention when you're watching SPY, always watch QQQ with it, and when you're watching QQQ, watch SPY with it, because sometimes one will make a higher low, one will make a lower high, one will be a lot stronger, and when you're bullish on one, like extremely bullish on one, you're probably going to be extremely bullish on the other. Right? So they give hints to kind of how each other can move. So yeah, the ES divergence was probably one of the main factors into why I was so bullish on NQ. I was like, if ES is gonna rip to high of day, and which would be a massive move, I was like, NQ is gonna rip even more. And I just it's basically an ES trade on NQ if you think about it. But I was also bullish on NQ too. It wasn't just like an ES trade, but the ES divergence was one of the main factors for sure. I always factor into the trades.
One more thing. So one of the things I saw was like, you see how NQ after its pump was way weaker? Like it didn't reach that same high that ES broke,
Yeah.
right? And then ES and then NQ was making lower lows and ES was making uh like it was consolidating. Like while NQ was making
Yeah. Yeah.
lower
Yeah.
lows,
Yeah.
ES was just consolidating. So I thought at that point, like we would go short. Obviously I was wrong, but like sometimes it works. But
Yeah.
like, is that like a thing you looked at, or is that something that, like, you at that point, you're like, "That's not really relevant because of the pump we
Yeah,
had
no, no, no.
earlier?"
So when I saw ES over 35, and I also saw a bunch of stocks that looked really bullish. I was really bullish. I think it was AMD, the one that looked absolutely great. And so I also NQ wasn't really like, yes, it was making lower lows and everything, but it wasn't really breaking down that much. Right? It was barely
Yeah.
breaking down. Like every bounce, every drop it had was basically bought back up a little bit. So this right here, I was like, hey, like here I need to pay attention. Here's when I was like, okay, fuck, this thing wants to go. But here, like, I was. The thing is though, why I didn't think that way is because I wasn't looking for a short entry. I was looking for a long entry. That's why I guess my brain was kind of already looking for a place to buy. Because I knew this short. If I want to take a short, it would be at 64. That's where in my head I was like, if I want to go short, this is the entry to get in. I wouldn't be at 42. Wouldn't be at 18. Even if I know it goes lower, I don't like chasing. Could you explain why short the 18,364 area pops when it was reversing back up? So here, yeah, so here, um, yeah, I can explain that. So here, yeah, it did reverse back up, it reversed like 120 points, for example. But this was the first area where I could see myself entering short. Like I couldn't see myself entering short here or here or like anywhere here up until 364, which was the previous support. Like, it was a pretty strong support. So this was like the first area where I was looking to go short, and I wasn't bullish on the market yet. Like this bounce, I was like, this is probably just a bounce that they're gonna sell into later in the day. So like here, for example, I was like, yeah, that 360 short, man, that's gonna do amazing all the way back down. I wasn't thinking that, hey, this might reverse all the way up. Like it wasn't until this point I was thinking this day is bullish. Like up until like here, I was like, this day is gonna be bearish. We're just gonna make lower lows. We're gonna go down. So at this point right here, I'm like, yeah, this 360s before. Also, it was also struggling at the area. So you see how it before even approaching 360s, we started seeing some selling. You're not seeing these candles anymore. You see the first seller started appearing here, and then lots more. It's sure it's trending up, but you can see how it's getting weaker here. It's not no more none of these candles anymore, right? None of these super strong candles. It's starting to get weaker, and then it gets 364. It's stopping at 364, and then it drops right back down. So that's why I was thinking, this 364 area, it'll probably get rejected right away. And then here, I was looking for another short actually at 364 because ES was struggling. So if we go back to 1051, so 1051, right? So assume this didn't happen. So I was this is all the information you have. Pretty bearish day. It's coming all the way down. This is pre-market low. So I'm thinking, hey, ES NQ is at a big 64 level that it rejected multiple times over. ES is very close to pre-market low, and it's this is where it dropped the last time, and it's struggling again at the same area. And if you put it like you just put your marker at 32 area, you can see like a resistance in the area. I'm like, all right, ES is at pre-market low. NQ's at a 64 key level that it rejected multiple times before. That was support turn resistance, especially after this one. Like here, for example, I was also trying to get bearish again, trying to get a short in at 64. I'm like, hey, yes, if ES is this close to pre-market low and it's not able to get over it, and NQ is at a key level, we're probably gonna go short, and this is just a pop to fade, right? And this is probably just like another pop to sell, another pop to sell, another pop to sell. Like I was just another pop to sell. Off to sell, it was just like the same theme, right? Except this was a much bigger run, not even a pop. But I was thinking, yes, near pre-market low, NQ big level, it'd probably be a good short. And I guess it worked, but like not forever. And it worked really nice on ES as well, but like ES held the 70s area, like the 27, 28 area. Does that kind of make sense? Okay. And I wasn't looking for like a home run either. I was just looking for a 20-point scalp back to the 30s area, especially after it bounced already twice. Like here, if it would have, I didn't short this because I wanted to get 364, but if it would have went there, I would have was probably looking to cover somewhere in this area again. I wasn't looking for like a lower low all the way down. Okay, makes sense. That's where I was looking for a pullback to go long, but then you mentioned short on a 1 minute. So I scalped some shorts and it worked. I switched from my long to short mindset, and before I knew it, we were long again. Yeah. Yeah. You just gotta be very quick to like change your bias and adapt. Like when looking to short this and the market does this right away and it holds this, you gotta be like, hey, I might have picked up a couple pennies in front of a train and I might have been wrong, like wrong in the overall scheme and still made money. But like you just gotta be quick with it. That's the thing with especially with NQ, you just gotta be very quick to adapt. It doesn't really happen too often where you just went short and all of a sudden you need to long again. It doesn't always happen. But on a volatile day like this where it's going up and down 300, 400 points, especially when you're catching like 360 to 310, that's like an amazing short on a regular day. That's 50 points. A 50-point drop on a normal day. Right? That's an amazing trade. So on a day like this, and then it goes back to 310 to 360, 50 points, and then back down to 320, 330. So on a day like this, where every move, every leg down is like 30, 40 points, you need to be quick to adjust whether you're right or wrong. Because if you're wrong on a move like this, you'll be wrong. Like first time you'll be wrong after 364 is probably like 400, which is almost 40 points. So on days like these, you just need to cut fast when you're wrong and kind of not change bias. That's amazing, RK. Congrats. But on days like these, you need to be able to change your bias quickly. So when you're wrong, you're not absolutely getting ran through on a day on a candle like this, or on a candle like these candles were 447 to 465, then right back to like 430 to 450. So a couple candles that you hold through, you're wrong, especially if you're waiting for a candle close. Before you even know it, you're down 60 points, which is a lot. Yeah. But like I said, RK, it doesn't really happen that often. Just on volatile days like these where the market can move 400 points without a flinch is when you need to be a little bit more proactive with your trades and just like be able to move them around faster than you normally would. But like great scalping from you today anyways. You did amazing. Especially those end of day chasers. All right, if no one has any more questions, it's been almost an hour. It's 3 p.m. my time. I guess that will be it. If no one has any more questions, I'll be reaching out tomorrow and the day after, for your like groups and setting up times to set up one-on-ones and group meetings and all that stuff. So we could be meeting weekly, like starting from next week. Like I'll be reaching out tomorrow for the groups that said Saturday or Sunday, whatever. I'll be reaching out to everyone, like trying to fit a time because some people are not from the US. Lots of people are in, one's in Australia, one's in the UK and stuff like that. So Singapore, I know. So need to schedule a time that works for everybody, like for each person individually. So I'll be reaching out tomorrow, so we could set times for next week, and should have the course sometime up this weekend, and I'll post this recap after it's done. Like it's recorded, so I just have to post it to YouTube, and when it's done to processing, I'll post it in the educational channel. I'll post it in the recaps channel. And yeah, congrats on everybody today that made money, or if you lost money, there's always another week, as long as you don't blow up. Okay, that's it for me for the week. I hope everyone had a good week. I tried my best, and yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Have a good weekend, everybody. Take care.